Late night and static hum, shopping cart wheels in a setting sun. Rodney staring at the overpass sky, wondering why he keeps seeing the light. Sleeps on concrete, wakes up shaking, same red planet every night invading. Mountains burning, oceans black, voices whispering, don't go back. Nobody listens to a vet downtown till a stranger says I've seen that town. Now there's coffee shop prophets and parking lot saints, drawing constellations no one can explain. It started heartfelt, just people in pain, trying to find meaning, trying to explain. We are the forgotten divine, static hearts and warning signs, dreaming worlds beyond the veil. One more truth, all paralyzed. Everybody thinks they're chosen this time. Comics, cults, conspiracy minds. We are the forgotten divine. Kyle says this feels too real to me. Drew says, yeah, that's a scary thing. Not laser guns or alien wars, just broken people wanting something more. Forums buzzing, cameras shake, government threats and sleeper claims. Every answer breeds new fear, everybody sees patterns everywhere. A symbol scratch into motel walls, a live stream ramp before the signal falls. Was it revelation, mental decline? The line gets thinner all the time. First came wonder, then came control. Everybody's searching till it swallowed them whole. We are the forgotten divine, static hearts and warning signs, dreaming worlds beyond the veils. Conspiracy halos glowing bright, everybody losing sleep at night, looking for gods in satellite skies. We are the forgotten divine. What if the dreams are real? What if they're not? What if loneliness is all we've got? Rodney screaming at the neon rain. Tell me why we all see the same thing. The crowd goes silent, the TVs glow. Nobody's sure how deep this goes. Hope turns cold. Cold turns fear. Fear turns violence year by year. Truth gets twisted, faith goes blind. Everybody wants a cosmic sign. We are the forgotten divine, lost souls drawn sacred lines. Some seek healing, some seek war, from empty streets to endless skies, searching for meaning while reality dies. Maybe revelation, maybe just our minds. We are the forgotten divine. Late night static fades to black. Rodney dreams the planet back, and somewhere far beyond the light, something finally dreams of us tonight.
Aloha, it's Jason from Hawaii. Welcome to a special edition of the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. In this episode, I will be interviewing, a friend of the podcast, Eisner, Glad, and Ringo Award winning comic book writer Mark Russell, and for the first time on the podcast, Russ Braun. Russ, did I pronounce your last name correctly? I think
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you. Now, they are here to promote Ahoy Comics' first ever Kickstarter, The Forgotten Divine. Now, Mark and Russ, I'm going to be joking on this part. This will win the 2027 Eisner Award. And if it does, make sure someone from Ahoy Comics mentions my name in the thank you speech for predicting this.
I will personally see to that.
But I can also see
back it up.
Now, listeners, I've read, the preview pages. To me, this is it's going to be a very good book. It's going to be a very thought-provoking story. I've already mentioned this to Russ. Mark probably knows because he saw my emails. I'm planning to back this campaign when it begins. I am. Now, I know that when this interview comes out, I think the Kickstarter will be either launching soon right after the interview or when this interview. So all I'm just going to say, listeners, is just, please go to the launch page that's already up. And if you're interested, just please hit the notification button. Also, right now, I know, as of this interview, they're still trying to work out the rewards tier. It's close to being finalized. But if you are listening to this interview after the campaign has launched, please go to the Kickstarter page and check out the rewards tier. I've heard a couple things that they've already set up. I'm not going to say what it is, but please do that. Again, guys, I'm joking on this part. I think one of the reward tiers is an all expense paid trip to Hawaii, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would.
But there's only one, and I think I'm gonna sign up for that one. So.
All right, yeah, that's what you want. All right. Mark, Russ, welcome to the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. How are you guys doing today?
I'm
Very
doing
good.
good.
No, but thank you guys for joining me for this. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to interview you guys. Now, I'm just going to go over some of Mark and Russ's work. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Like Mark has written a number of books. You know, you know, for DC, he wrote the Snagglepuss Chronicles. He recently, Batman Dark Age. One of my favorite DC books, One Star Squadron. I love that. That's a great book. Um, and for Ahoy Comics, I'm just going to cover some of the, trying to go for the recent ones, Mark, like Billionaire Island, Serial, and I think, was it last year, Thanksgiving, the one-shot Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Thanksgiving. Thanks for remembering.
Oh, yes. And then for Russ, you know, he's known for one of the books he's done for Dynamite, The Boys, and also Battlefields. He's recently worked on the Monstrous Verse with Monstrous Verse publishers. He's done a cover for the Kolchak, the Night Stalker, on one of their comics. And he's going to be doing the cover for an upcoming prose anthology novel through Monstrous Verse, Creepshow, 13 Tales of
Yeah.
Terror. And also, Russ, you did some animation work. And this is your thing to say about what you worked on that has a relationship to Hawaii.
Oh, sure. Well, I was one of the animators on Lilo and Stitch. So we had hundreds of people working on it, but I was one of the guys doing the cleanup animation on Jumba. So we have the Ohana connection.
Nice. And did Disney have to pay you guys to really come out and make sure that the locations were right, that Diamond Head was drawn correctly?
Absolutely, that was a bit above my pay grade, but yeah, the directors and development team, we were all out there having a beautiful vacation in Hawaii. It's like if you decide to do an animated movie, pick Hawaii as your background instead of like Siberia, I guess. So.
I heard once that was how Michael Caine chose which movie he was going to do next.
Yeah.
Like he just saw where they were shooting and what time of year, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to be in Australia in
Yeah.
spring, so I'll take this script." Which it seems like a brilliant way to choose your projects.
That's really nice. Then, yeah, that's true. That's a good way to pick your project. Okay. I also want to give a shout out to Hannah Bahedri at Superfan Promotion for all her hard work behind the scenes, setting up this interview. And also I gotta thank you guys. I'm going to thank you guys on air. I'm not going to say what happened, but something happened. I had some little health issues. We had to reschedule. So thank you guys for your patience on that. Thank you very
Certainly.
much.
No worries. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I got to thank Hannah for the sample pages I got because we're going to talk a little bit about that. Also, I got some of my information from Smash Pages, the comic super blog. That was a great interview. So that was a very good interview. And also the Beat, the blog of comics culture. The writer on that was Christopher Chiu Tabit. That was dated on March 18th of 2026. So listeners, if you guys get a chance, please check out those great interview articles. All right, Mark, I'm going to start with you, and Russ, just jump in.
Sure.
Do you guys want to add anything that I said about Hannah and at Superfan Promotions?
Yeah, both Hannah and David are who do the publicity for this have been amazing. They've been working really hard for it, and I think one of the advantages of writing something like this for a company like Ahoy is that you get the feeling that everybody believes in it. Like a lot of times when you write a comic, especially for a big publisher, it feels like they're an insect laying 50,000 eggs, and you're just one of the eggs.
Yeah.
But when you do like a title like this, like a labor of love for a company like Ahoy, then you get the full mammal treatment. It's like you're a baby fawn or a human baby. You're gonna be taken care of and raised to maturity, and people gather around in awe at you, and it's nice to have that experience as a writer to have people around you who believe in this title and are in the industry but are trying to make it work for you because God help us if I had to do that stuff or if I had to be the only one who cared about it because I'm kind of
Yeah.
helpless within the promotion.
Russ, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I worked for Ahoy quite a few times, and they're my favorite company to work for. I mean, I can say that without any doubt. But I haven't worked with the publicity machine that they have so far, and they do such a great job, and it's so personal. Just like Mark said, it's like you feel like it's a small team that's 100% behind what you're working on, and this project needs that. It needs that kind of ground floor. Get in on it right at the beginning for the Kickstarter. So we're loving it. I'm loving it myself.
That's good. All right. Um, Russ, I'm going to start off with you. Where can people follow you on social media?
On Instagram, Facebook. Don't do Twitter anymore or whatever X. I was closed out of that. But, Instagram is just my name. It's russ.braun.589. For whatever reason, they've given me 589, and I think it's the same for Facebook. I'm pretty easy to find. I mean, especially on Instagram, it's like, it's pretty big. So, yeah, check it out. I put up a drawing every day. And I have themes for the week. It's kind of fun.
Nice. Mark, what about you?
I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Threads. I'm on Instagram. And my handle for all three is @Manruss, MANRUSS. And I'm probably most active on Blue Sky, but I use all three.
Okay. All right. Gentlemen, I'm going to just jump right in. Let's talk about the Forgotten Divine. Mark, I'm going to start off with you, and even and Russ, please feel free to jump in. Don't wait for your turn. Just jump right in, because the main purpose is to promote this book. So, Mark, what's the story about?
It's about a man, a veteran from the Afghanistan war, who is homeless, and he starts having these visions of these alien landscapes, these alien creatures. And at first, he imagines that this is part of the PTSD or the experience. Sort of, he feels like he's losing his mind. But then he begins to meet other people who are having the same visions, and he realizes it might not be the problem, it might not be a problem with him. They might be sharing this common reality that they can't convince anybody else is real. And that's kind of what the book is about. It's about how do you explain something to somebody else that is real to you but sounds like it's crazy. And it became a book about cults, but weirdly as seen through the experience of a cult member, which I thought was like more interesting and more gratifying than just writing a story about how dumb these people are or how only crazy people join cults. And I think it's especially relevant now to write a story about how normal, well-meaning people can get sucked into something or get go down a rabbit hole from which there's no return.
Russ, I'm going to ask, do you want to add anything?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what hooked me about doing the story is it's so personal and it's so immediate. So you really do feel like, you go on a journey with our main character and a lot of side characters too. You follow him through and you can, it's trying to figure out how you can justify his actions, how you can agree with him and disagree with him at the same time. It's very human. So it's a pretty remarkable story, and it was just a lot of fun to draw.
Mark, I'm going to jump around just a little bit because like you guys mentioned that and I love it, Mark. This is one of the things I love in your interview with Smash Page, because like you guys said, it's just a guy, and what happened, how does he become involved in this? And for readers, and just give me a little minute because I want to give readers just a little bit of context of the question and so forth. So the interviewer said, asked you said the book is about why people join cults and find comfort in their own persecutions. That's an empathetic way of to frame what could be played out as pure satire. How do you write cult members with with compassion without letting them off the hook. And Mark, your answer is, I don't really think this story is as satire. I think of it more as a story about people who find themselves pretty much like you said, that they're fixed, they're fixing their life and then they make the mistake of not looking too hard at it. Um, but I think there's something we are all capable of. I'm not interested in holding them accountable or letting them off the hook. I just want to tell a story of how it happens. It's not a morality tale by any means. Again, what I loved about the line I love, Mark, that you said was, but I think that's something we're all capable of. And Russ, like you mentioned, basically we're all human, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that when you're writing characters, even if they're bad people, you have to empathize with them on a certain level. You have to at least give them a perspective that
Mhm.
makes sense. Or you could think to yourself, well, but for a few different twists and turns in life, I could maybe go there.
Yes.
And I think that's what kind of drew me in with the story was the feeling that like if I were having these visions, I would probably do a lot of the same things. I would probably fall down this rabbit hole
Mhm.
too.
Yes.
It makes you feel not. I think it's always more interesting to tell a story as if you are on the journey with the characters, even if it's a bad journey, than if you are just sort of like looking at them from a balcony somewhere.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that way you feel like you get caught up in the momentum of it too. So as we grow with the story is it's an evolution, but it's
Yes.
64 pages, so it's a pretty quick uh, journey to get where
Hmm.
we're going. But you really get caught up with the characters, and especially the main character, and you just following how he gets from where he starts to where
Hmm.
he ends up.
Hmm.
So
Russ, I'm gonna that's a perfect segue. Then I want to ask Mark about. I'm going to ask you about the character design. So, well, well, actually, Mark, you already described. Well, let's we got to mention the main character's name, Rodney Coleman. He's this Afghanistan homeless veteran, you know. Um, and then Russ, I'm going to ask you, how did you come up with Rodney's design? And I'm not, and I'm this is going to be a very dumb question, and I'm not, and Mark, I'm not making fun, but like, did Mark give you notes, or did Mark says, okay, I'll let you handle that part, Russ, and
yeah. Well, no, Mark had some very detailed notes and actually some sketches and a rough idea of a lot of the stuff, particularly the alien type stuff.
Mhm.
We worked it out as a team. Uh, but Rodney, as homeless, I was probably at the very beginning not making him raggedy enough.
Mhm.
Um, and then it was a weird thing. I didn't tell Mark about this either, but something clicked in my head from an old Marvel comic that I loved as a kid, Fantastic Four, when the Submariner is a homeless guy
Yes.
and Johnny burns off his beard so you can see it's actually, oh my God, it's Namor.
Mhm.
I thought of that. I didn't picture it. I didn't even research it, but I was like, that's what Rodney's going to look like. He's going to look like Namor with the beard. So, not the ears, but
No, no, no,
Which
yeah.
is appropriate too, because he is like somebody who was like a bigger deal in his previous life. Was like
yeah,
Mr. EOD was somebody people looked up to, and now when he comes back to the real world and there's not much demand for diffusing landmines, he
Yes.
finds himself kind of
yeah.
feeling useless.
And then
So
for
yeah, my first image of it was yeah from that.
but that's but that Mark, that's pretty good that you kind of brought on. It's like, yeah, because Namor was homeless. He's just, he's king of the sea, but and it's almost not, it's not exactly, but it's almost similar tone of how Rodney's situation is. His life in Afghanistan was something totally different. Literally, um, doing, you know, you know, very life threatening things to not only save people, but one wrong move and he can just kill himself.
There's a running metaphor throughout the story about like his work in the Forgotten Divine and sort of being the figurehead of this cult, and his work in Afghanistan defusing bombs, and
Yeah,
about how like every decision was kind of a life and death decision, and about how the the cult has given him a sense of purpose and direction that he hadn't had since then.
Yes. Russ, do you want to add anything? Because I mean, you read the story.
And he brings up a lot of times like the techniques of some of the stuff that he did in Afghanistan and the problematic nature of those, without giving too much away. It's just a matter of how he likens things that are happening in his life to different things that have happened in the past. Mm-hmm. So we flash back to Afghanistan and we see some of his activities there. So
originally, the working title of the story was Pig Stick, which is a reference to a tool he used in Afghanistan, mm-hmm. where if there's a bomb and you don't know how to defuse it, mm-hmm. you flood it with water really quick before the circuits can make the connection to cause it to go off. Mm-hmm. But that was sort of my running metaphor for dealing with these visions and this cult.
Yeah. That's what I meant. I didn't know if you wanted to reveal that title or not.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
I'll throw it out there, but yeah, you still got to read the book.
Yes,
Of course, more to it than that.
I'm going to say that. So, Mark, I'm going to jump around a little bit because because one of the scenes where, and we'll talk a little bit more about Rodney and his therapist, because, like I said, those preview pages gives me an idea, how the story's going to go, and and you can correct me, Mark, but it captures, how well told this story is going to be, how thought-provoking it is. Because when you said pig stick, the first thing that popped into my mind, because his therapist is eating a corn dog. I don't know.
His therapist is not exactly, he doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, this therapist, but he's well-meaning.
But it was just because I wanted to in some funny. I'm trying to lighten, not make fun of the story, but lighten the situation of the story, because like, who came up with the idea for the therapist to eat a corn? And like you said, he's not really into his job, but why a corn dog? Why not a hamburger? Or
I think I've noticed that I've put that into more than one of my stories. Like one of the villains or one of the handlers in the X Factor run I did for Marvel, he is on what he calls a power dog diet, which means that he's like basically just constantly eating corn dogs. And I think maybe I gravitate towards the corn dog because it's a very simple thing visually, yes. But it also makes whoever's eating a corn dog look kind of ridiculous. And also a bit of regional pride. It was created right here in Portland, Oregon, where I live. So I have to represent a little bit. One of our most proud contributions to global civilization is the corn dog.
Russ, do you want to add?
Well, I mean, if it was, I would have been New York and you could have eaten a slice of pizza or a bagel, but the corn dog is much easier to draw. and much more fun. It's just, there's something about a corn dog that's just just slightly a little bit unusual. It's like, did you get it from a carnival or,
it's impossible to look good eating a corn dog. It's just like.
I'm just getting a moment. Because one of the designs I wanted to ask, we already let listeners know that, in Afghanistan, Rodney was this guy who defused, landmines and so forth. Whose idea was it to give him a very noticeable bad scar on his face?
Oh, he has a scar? Obviously.
Yeah, thanks.
Must have been a printing error. I had mentioned it, and I'd done it in a sketch, and Mark, you liked it. You liked that. I think that's a great idea to have.
Yeah, that was Russ's idea, and but the thing that I thought was really good about it is that it's just not only is it gives them some iconography where you can instantly tell them apart from other characters, but it does sort of sort of a metaphor for what has happened to him in his life.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I kept it kind of purposely on one side of his face, so if you actually see him from one side, he doesn't have any. You wouldn't notice any scars at all.
Yes.
On his left profile, but on his right side. And it came into play a couple of times in the story where we're looking at him. He seems to whether he's not monstrous or more human, but
No.
there's some moments that you see him and it just looks a bit more innocent because it's just, oh, that's the side without the scar, you
Mhm.
know? So, yeah, and I wonder if it was like that for him in real life, if he was alive, Rodney
Yeah.
was with us.
Mhm.
And I think there's the
Talking
symbolic
about,
element of it too, where it's just like you're not sure as he's getting deeper into the forgotten divine and kind of becoming their leader. You're not sure if this is the disease or the cure anymore. If it's
yeah,
if it's healing him because it's giving him the sense of direction and purpose he's lacked for years, or if it's like putting on a path of destruction from which he's never going to return.
yeah,
That's very good. Yeah.
it's true. So it's the scar of something from the past, or it could be foreshadowing as well. So we don't know. You'll
Yeah.
have to read it and find out.
No, yes. Um, let's I'm going to talk a little bit more about the preview pages, and then we'll jump into like, just the technical things, how the project came together and so forth. Um, because I think Mark, you already mentioned like his therapist is not a very good therapist. And basically Rodney says it clear, you're not a very good therapist, you know.
He's more of a friend to him, I think, than a therapist. I
Okay.
they seem like two guys who like to get together and talk, but he doesn't really take it very seriously as valid medical advice.
Mhm. And then I think the fascinating thing, and tell me if I'm reading too much into it, is that you have Rodney on one side of the desk who's trying to look for, and you mentioned in his dialogue that he's trying to find the secret to happiness, and then already his therapist slash friend, it's like he's already settled in his life. He's like he said, he's in um some closed down store in a strip mall, and it's yeah, and and I'm not making fun, but he's eating a corn dog, he's not taking his job
Yeah,
seriously.
he's like a VA funded therapist, and his practice is in what looks like it was like formerly like a frozen yogurt shop in like a strip mall. It's the kind of place when you go there, you're like, I'm not sure this is 100% legit therapy.
Yes, yeah, you know um and the other thing I also love in that scene, and Ross, I'm going to talk, I'll get back to you because I love some of the artwork you did in that. Is that I love how the therapist basically tells Rodney, you know, secret to happiness, just have low expectations, you know. It- and it's almost like, and Mark, you can correct me on this, but it's almost like his friend or therapist is telling him, yeah, shit happens in life. What are you gonna
Yeah,
do?
no, I think that the therapist has had like a lot of similar, like he's had a very um, disappointing trajectory to his own life.
Hmm.
And so he draws more upon that in terms of dealing with Rodney's problems than any sort of like theoretical or, psychological like um, instruction. He's just sort of like, well, you just got to kind of understand that life is garbage and,
Yeah.
and, and be okay eating garbage.
Yeah, there's like a certain resignation to him, and he's kind of like, "Well, I gave up, so you probably should too." So
It's not so bad to give up.
Yeah.
it's warming though
There's
somehow.
corn dogs. There's corn dogs involved. A nice office at the what used to be a TCBY yogurt.
Oh my God, TCBY yogurts. Okay, but um, but Russ, I'm gonna mention this is the part because I love those pages. I love how you're showing, t Rodney's expression of he looks like, he needs help. He's trying to look for something. And I love how you perfectly show the therapist that, like you said, it's like he's kind of sort of like, yeah, this is my life. I've given up. He's not, he's still unshaven. He's not, his tie is loose and he's just sitting back in his chair, and I just love that it's just a great, those pages are great.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, the story calls for stuff, and then I try to live out the scene. So that's
Mhm.
my job to be the actors in there, and so that was like the impetus behind it. And And when I get to like really inhabit these characters and kind of make you believe what they're saying, that's what I love to do about. That's what I love about storytelling, you know. So with both of them, I mean, Rodney's really kind of blank in the first few pages.
Yes.
He's a bit of a cipher, you know. He's worn down by these dreams and worn down by life to the point where he's just staring blankly straight ahead.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
and you know, there's a certain snarkiness left in him, like he's just like rolling his eyes, like, can you really believe what my life is? And Doc is there to kind of reinforce that.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Doc. Doc was a really fun character to draw too. So
Mark, I'm going to ask, do you want to add anything?
No, I think it's perfect.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be a process question because in the preview pages you showed about the alien world. Russ, I know you talked about, I think how you and Mark collaborated on the designs of the alien world. Like, you know, Mark, I'm going to ask, did you give Russ some ideas of the alien world or picture, like, or notes?
Yeah, I mean, notes. I wasn't. I did some drawings of what I imagined the aliens looking like, but
Mhm.
when I work with an artist, my rule is always like this is just these are just suggestions. This is
Mhm.
just sort of me attempting imperfectly to describe
Mhm.
me running in my head. There's a great line Kurt Vonnegut used one time where he said, if you could draw decently well, then explaining how something looks is like making hors d'oeuvres out of like broken glass and ball bearings. It's like it's always much easier to like show to show something than it is to describe it. And so I wasn't very, I'm not a very good artist, so I drew when I could, but I think that in the most of it was me describing what the way things looked, and so it really was kind of up to Russ and his imagination to make that something looked magical,
Mhm.
which he did. So yeah, but I tried to give notes where I could or where I thought it was important.
Mhm.
And the notes are more about like I think what I wanted the scene to feel like to a reader, what I wanted it sort of inspire in them, and I think that was kind of what Russ went with, and he came up with these just amazing surreal alien landscapes. That worked really well in contrast with sort of Arizona desert, which is anything but, which is like about the most plain sort of
Mhm.
lifeless atmosphere you can imagine against this very vibrant and surreal alien landscape. And it gives you the sense that if you were having these visions, why would you not choose this alien
yeah,
world over the world of like billboards and
Mhm.
cowboy boots and miles and miles of hot sand that you find around you. I think the contrast between those two worlds did a really good job of sort of explaining why these people were so drawn to the forgotten divine.
Mhm.
yeah. And for me, it was just a matter of trying to make sure that I knew the main points of what Mark was trying to say with it, and make sure that those were right front and foremost in the design. You know,
Mhm.
so if it's about an eyeball, it's going to be
Yes.
about the eyeball. You know,
Okay.
so it's just one of those things where you kind of like you want to get cutesy with it and just like, well, aliens, why would they have like human eyeball or whatever? It's just
Mhm.
no, it's about the vision of what it is and about what Rodney's picturing in his mind too. So
Mhm.
what everybody else. So I was happy to just kind of start off with what Mark gave me and kind of take it in whatever direction I wanted. You know,
Mhm.
I don't want to give too much away about what about the looks, other than the preview pages that you can all see if
Mhm.
you go look. But yeah, there's a lot of really fun stuff that I got to do, and was kind of unleashed on the world.
Oh, that's so good. Um, I just want to make a comment. The thing now, I'm making this clear. I'm not trying to, you know, downplay other Kickstarters that I've backed and so forth. But the thing I love about this Kickstarter is we get the complete story, and that's the thing I love is six, like Russ, you said, 64 pages. And Mark, I know you've mentioned in previous interviews, this is just the right amount of pages. No more is no, not one page more, not one page less. It's a complete story. You know, when I get it, I'm going to get it and I can just read it the whole thing, and it's not going to lose any momentum or anything. That's
A couple of things I think are unique about this Kickstarter, especially for people who maybe have lost faith in Kickstarters, is that, as you say, you get the whole story in one. It's not like, well, you have to wait 5 years for the rest of the story.
yeah.
And two, it's pretty much done. I think Russ, correct me if I'm wrong, but all the artwork is done. It's not going to be like, well, we took your money, now you got to wait 3 years for us to actually write and draw the book. It's ready to go, which is, I think, a really good experience for people who maybe been burned by Kickstarters before, because you're going to get something relatively quickly.
Yeah, and
it was important to Ahoy that we were done before they even launched, because
that's good.
They wanted to make sure they had the product. I mean, and they have full faith in it too, and they've been really supportive. And they're like, wow, we really want to put this out there. And Kickstarter is just a really cool way to go with it, as far as like it gets people on board straight away, so you have a dedicated base right there.
Yes.
And so it's something they really wanted to play with and experiment with. So I'm happy we're part of it.
All right, so this is where I'm going to get a little technical. I'm going to ask all those, technical questions and I know we're jumping around, guys, but Mark, how did this project come about? Like, did you go to Tom and go, hey, I got the story idea? Were you thinking monthly book, or
Tom actually came to me and said that they were thinking about I told him I'd had this idea for a story, and Tom said, well, we are thinking about doing a Kickstarter for Ahoy, and this sounds like it might be a good fit for it, because I was specific about wanting it to be released all in one shot, not divided up into issues. And he's like, well, then Kickstarter might be the way to go for this, because it doesn't sound like something you're going to squeeze into 20 pages. And I was like, no, it will not. And so, the idea that it was going to be a weird length, in this case, 64 pages, and it was something that I wanted to tell all in one shot, because I hate, the idea of somebody not finishing the story. Kind of like lent this to the idea, like, well, if Ahoy wants to try their hand at doing a Kickstarter, this is maybe the project to do, because it's probably going to find more interest in Kickstarter than in a shop or something where it's such a weird length.
Because also this is my comment, you guys can disagree with me or not. I think the good thing is, again, like I said, it's Kickstarter is the perfect place, and like you said, Mark, this is pretty much done. It's a complete story. When you pay for it, in a 2-3, I don't know, 6 months, you're going to get the whole thing. Whereas like monthly book, it's like you got to compete with, I'm throwing this out there, Absolute Batman. Someone's going to go, should I go Absolute Divine? No, I'll go with Absolute Batman.
Well, and one of the, I love the medium. I love the comics medium, and it's my favorite sort of visual medium, I think, to work in. But the thing I do not love about it is that if you are reading a story, you have to wait a month between chapters, which is like, imagine if you were watching a TV show. Imagine you were watching Andor or something, and you had to wait a month between episodes. It just kills the momentum. And like you say, you're competing with so much else that it just feels like such a momentum killer to have to stick with the story month after month after month with and remember to come back to it and remember what you read last time, which is one of the reasons why I think now I gravitate more towards just releasing things as complete stories.
Russ, do you want to add anything?
Well, just since you mentioned Absolute Batman, I mean, Rodney is totally jacked and would kick his ass. Just so you know.
Yes.
No, I totally agree with Mark. It's just, growing up reading comics, it wasn't that was part of the thrill of the hunt, to find, like, you'd find a comic book and then you didn't get the first one of the run. You got like number 65, and then you'd have to go back to the racks and find 64 and 63.
Yes.
So that was great. But then once you got hooked on it, waiting for the next one to come was like torture. So, and then with different, nowadays with different artists and writers taking a bit of
Yes.
time to get their stuff done. Then suddenly it's like, wait, the issue didn't come out this month, and then and I've
Mhm.
been guilty of that myself. So
It's hard,
that's
yeah.
why I get this whole thing out there before it even gets launched, so
Mhm.
that it's a finished product and a great story. So
The other thing too, Mark, I'm sorry, Russ, is that one thing at least that's good with this, like this, this complete story is that, um, like you said, it's pretty much done. The thing I love also too, it gives you time to work on it because you showed me the wrap. Now I think on the Kickstarter launch page, I think just the front cover of Rodney walking away and you see the alien background, but you showed me the whole the wraparound cover, and it's like, holy cow, that is amazing.
yeah,
Like,
that image is going to be the main cover, I think, for the hardcover wraparound cover.
yeah,
So,
because
but
oh,
I held up the pencils of it to show you. So, but yeah, it's pretty much the whole thing. And colored by Paul Little, by the way. He did the coloring in the book, and he did a great job. It was a lot to ask. I mean, I had quite a few notes along the way because I had pictured things very specifically.
mhm.
But yeah, and a lot of the things I wanted wouldn't be within the CMYK technical coloring ability. So, but working within that framework, he did a remarkable job. So, yeah.
Also, yeah, we better the letters was done by, we better do shout outs too. I forgot to
Oh,
ask that.
Rob Steen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob Steen did a great job with the letters. He's a good friend of mine, and we work together quite a bit. And he does almost everything for Ahoy.
Yes.
And yeah, so it's subtle, but the letterer's job is so important. I work towards the lettering. I mean, I'm penciling to know that there's enough space for what has to be shown and what has to be said.
Hmm.
Um, and Rob nails it every time. So he makes me look like I know what I'm doing.
Mark, I'm gonna ask, was Tom Pyre the editor on this?
Yeah,
Yeah. We have to give a shout out to him. Sorry, yeah,
yeah.
I almost forgot that, Tom.
Tom's a
Yep.
great to work with. If you ever get a chance to work with Tom, I highly recommend it because he's a good writer himself.
Yes.
So he is sort of sympathetic to the good writing, and I think he really only interferes with things that he believes in. So it's really it's been really good working with him over the years, and especially on this.
Um,
Yeah, he's a guy you tell he appreciates the work.
mhm,
When he likes something, he lets you know. It's not like, okay, more product for the
mhm.
for the factory.
Yes.
It's like, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't love it, and I'm
Mhm.
really loving it. So that's always a great feeling.
I'm gonna before I start, because I'm gonna start wrapping this up. I got a couple more questions. What I just by talking to you guys, and like I said, seeing the preview pages, and what Ahoy did to make sure it's like, no, let's get this done first before we do the Kickstarter. The thing I love about the whole idea, the whole project coming together like this, and it gives Mark, it gives you time, Russ, it gives you time because it's a labor of love, like and we talked about this, it's a labor of love. This is, I, I know when you guys write comics, when you guys draw, like Russ, when you do the boys, Mark, when you write for like DC Comics, I know you're putting your love and your effort into that, but this one seems to be the one that, yeah, this is the true passion story I want to tell. I want to make sure that this is one of those that where it's, and I'll mention again in my closing remarks is this is a story where readers are going to be able to sink their teeth into. And once they finish reading it, it's going to stay with them, after the story is done. You know, that's what you
I
know.
hope so. That's kind of I think what I always want to achieve when I'm writing is like
Uh-huh.
something that somebody's going to be thinking about when they're done reading it,
Yes,
something that somebody will maybe want to read twice.
yes.
And I think the times I actually achieve that are because I am allowed the time and the care to actually go spend time with the book
Hmm.
and sort of lower my diving bell under the water and and follow where the story leads me. Like
Hmm.
give myself enough time with it that the story tells me how it what it needs to be like and how it needs to end,
Hmm.
And I think when you have the luxury of doing that, that's when you create the stuff that I think is really going to resonate with other people.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
And for my part, it's all about the storytelling. And
Hmm.
it's like I did have some fun to do some splashy stuff,
Hmm.
but all in the service of the story. So it's like it's nice to have the art look nice, but
Yes.
I would rather you notice it after you read the whole story and that you were just brought on a journey. We suspended disbelief enough for you that you just read the story and got carried along with it instead of being like, oh, that's a really cool looking beastie, or
Hmm.
that's a great. If you're noticing the angle, you're not in the story. So
Hmm.
that's kind of the trick. As a penciler, as a storyteller, you're like trying to make sure that the story flows from page to page
Hmm.
without being distracting. And at
Yes.
the same time, it's like trying to be a bit of a magician, trying to bring the people in for the whole 9 yards from the beginning to the end. So
Well,
it was easy for with a great script like that. So it was fun.
all right. Thank you very much, guys. Couple more questions, like I said. All right, Mark, I'm gonna start off with you. Fun questions, basically. Actually, yeah, what's your convention schedule like for the summer and the rest of 2026?
Well, let me tell you, because it's beginning in earnest now. I'm going to be at Fan Expo Philly with Russ
Yep.
at the end of May, and then I'm doing Heroes Con in Charlotte in mid-June, and doing San Diego in July.
Wow. Okay, well, Russ, I know where you're gonna be with Mark. What
Yeah.
any other
I'll be at Philly as
conventions?
well. Then a kind of smaller one here up in New York called Undiscovered Realm in June.
Mhm.
Then Terrificon in August,
Yes.
which
Mhm.
I love. Baltimore Comic Con, in which is like my favorite to do, and New York Comic Con. So that's all I know about right now.
Yeah.
So anything else would be smaller stuff. I'm not doing a whole lot of traveling right now.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, no, it's fun to have the convention coming up. Really look forward to Philly. That's a fun one, and I'll get to see Mark in person.
Yes. Yeah. The other thing, well, I think for now in Hawaii, I think we've got one convention they're still trying to plan for. We don't know when they'll be back, but it would be nice if they invite you guys to come down.
I would not say no. That would be amazing.
Yeah, same.
All right. Russ, I'm going to start off with you and then Mark. Any closing words to our listeners?
Well, no, this has been a pleasure, and I hope we've convinced you enough to check it out because it's a really fun story and a great way to get in on something right at the beginning. So, thanks a lot for your time, and I hope you enjoy it.
Mark?
Yeah, I would say just go to the Kickstarter page, sign up for the updates, and you'll see some like sneak previews and get updated on some cool extras, and that'll help you make up your mind if you're not sure you want it. But I am so proud of this and so confident in it that I think once you see some of Russ's pages, you'll be sold too.
Oh, and there's also we're not supposed to really talk about a lot of the rewards, but I'm going to be doing some sketches too. So like there's going to be a level where um, you get the book and like a free head sketch or of whatever character you want. So
Oh,
it's just I'm like 100% behind it. So I'm just happy to be doing anything I can to get people involved.
okay. Ah, darn, Mark. I think you tempted me on that one. I gotta look at that reward tier when it comes out. All right. But all right. Mark and Russ, mahalo. Thank you in Hawaiian. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to interview you guys. Thank you very much, guys, for creating comics. Just thank you very much.
Sure.
I mean, Mark, like I said, I've gone through some of you, I've mentioned some of your works. It's just thank you very much. Russ, it's just, the boys, Garth Ennis, Battlefield, from Dynamite. I got the trade paperbacks, I gotta look at that. I'm gonna be very tempted to pick up the Creep Show, the 13 Tales of Terror,
Yeah.
just for your cover,
Thanks. Yeah.
you know. But honey, but I interviewed this guy. That's why I need to buy this. That's why I have to have this horror book in here, you know? um, I wish you guys all the success in this campaign. Um, you guys, I'm gonna say this, you got my money already. You know, should I just mail it? Should I just mail the Kickstarter money to you guys?
Yeah, send it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, send it to Mark.
Okay. Now, listeners, if you are a fan of Ahoy Comics, please check out, the Forgotten Divine Kickstarter. Now, just from the preview pages I read, I love it. To me, this is, as I've already said this is one of those stories that you're going to really sink your teeth into because, and I think this would be one of those stories that you'll think about after you finish reading it. I've already mentioned, I'm already backing this campaign. We haven't even, during this interview, the campaign hasn't launched. I've already told you I'm giving you my money already. So, I'm definitely backing this campaign. If you can afford to buy an extra copy and give it to a friend or a family member, because that's what I'm going to do. I've already told Hannah through the email, I'm going to buy an extra copy, one for me. I'm going to send to one of my friends, to my friend Drew, the Codes of Comics for Fun and Profit. And this is the perfect segue for me to tell Drew, thank you very much for all your hard work for putting this episode together. Yeah, Drew is the one who, he cleaned this up, put this out there. He's the guy who does all the hard work behind that. And listeners, if you guys get a chance, please check out new episodes of Comics for Fun and Profit. New episodes are dropped every Saturday. And I want to thank you, the listeners. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening to this episode. Until next time, guys. Aloha.
Aloha, everybody.
Hello.